A charming slice of life anime movie from the director of Children of the Sea? Sounds good to me. Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watcher Pass, and I'm talking about Fortune Favors Lady Nikoku, which is coming to theaters for a limited event. It's a Fathom event, so like a lot of anime movies coming from Japan, there's going to be a limited showing on June 2nd and June 3rd, 2022. It'll probably eventually come to some sort of streaming service or at least to disc later in the year, but right now this is your only way to check it out. It's a new anime film from director Ayumu Watanabe, who also directed Children of the Sea, and my hot take is I actually think you should rent it. Look, I really wanted to like this. I thought this would be a movie that really spoke to me. And it does have some fun moments. It has beautiful animation and some nice overall life lessons and an unconventional family. But they made Lady Nikoku a little more slapstick, a little more, I don't know, ridiculous than I would have liked. And it kind of hurt the overall impact of the film for me. And the film also, as you can get in a slice of life movie, tends to just kind of stall and meander for a lot of it. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the film, a few things I liked, a few things I didn't like. And in things I didn't like, that's going to touch on aspects of the ending. So if you don't want to know what happens in the film, turn this off when I get to the ending discussion specifically. I should be able to keep it vague up until that point, but if you don't want to know what happens in the film, turn this off at the ending discussion. So in Fortune Favors Lady Nikoku, you have the main title character, Nikoku, who is this kind of like fun, brash, loving life personality that kind of says what she feels, is very much out there, is very kind of overly excited for people. She's a fun character, and she is raising Kikuko, which is her daughter, who is navigating middle school and starting to kind of like grow into a young adult. She's starting to worry about cliques. She's starting to worry about who her friends are. She's starting to kind of notice boys, things like that, and she also is oftentimes embarrassed by Nikoku's kind of antics, as I think a lot of kids are probably embarrassed of their parents. But Lady Nikoku is so over the top that it is a very noticeable kind of embarrassment. And so the two of them are in this sleepy harbor town, kind of just trying to survive, trying to live life. But eventually a revelation occurs that kind of puts their family into question, puts their kind of love for each other into question. And that is kind of the main thrust of the film. You have some character growth, you have some new revelations, you have some slapstick humor, and overall you just have this interesting slice of life film. So things I liked about this movie, the first is the animation. Look, this is the Children of the Sea director. It's from Studio 4C. You like, the animation is very nice, it's very beautiful, it has this great kind of hand-drawn look to it that is very impressive, and they do some interesting tricks with the animated style. So like Nikoku, who is this kind of, like I said, brash, over-the-top person, she actually has, I don't know, like more of a childish or more of like an animated style. Like she doesn't have that much detail in her face and her expressions. Her movements are a little bit more I don't know, rough. Her character looks very different from pretty much everyone else, and especially her daughter. Her daughter is more drawn in a more kind of realistic style. And so when you see them together, it is a very kind of stark contrast, which I think helps to show they're very different personalities and why they might not get along as well as you would expect. It's an interesting idea, and I liked seeing that. You get some very, very kind of up close differences between them. And on top of that, you have this beautiful harbor town. So you've got beautiful animation of the ocean, the harbor itself, the nature around it. It is just a very, very beautifully animated film, and some of these little animation tricks that they did do help you notice more things about the characters. Second thing I really liked is the wordplay, and this is an interesting one because like even in the subtitle version, you can catch some of the wordplay. This film plays with language a lot, like the writing plays with some of like the Japanese language aspects. I don't know if you get this in the dub. I didn't have the dub available to me, so I'm not sure how they do that on the dub version, but at least on the subtitle version, you still get some fun little like play on words here. So there's the family name of Nikuko and Kikuko is Misuji. They work at a restaurant, and occasionally the chef will make Misuji. And so they have a comment of like, Misuji eating Misuji, like little things like that. They also comment on like the fact that I guess the family name and the individual residents, Nikuko and Kikuko, their names look like other family names, and so on their on their sign for their front door, it looks like there's 3 people living there. There's a few other instances as well. So if you're interested in Japanese or Japanese language, it's a fun little like aspect of the humor in this movie. And the third thing I really liked is the music. There's some very beautiful music. There are some lovely clarinet, there's some flute, there is just some really great music to help set the mood. And you kind of expect that in a slice of life film, Like you expect to have some nice, dreamy, airy type of music. It definitely helps to set the stage and kind of amplify the beauty that is highlighted in this film. And the last thing I really liked is the unconventional family aspects. There's a single mother raising a child. Like they've moved around a lot as she has kind of fallen prey to multiple scams and things like that. Like they live on like a houseboat that they're renting. This is just a very kind of different family environment than you would normally expect in a Japanese anime movie. I really liked how unconventional it was and how like it made this single mother like the star of the movie. So things I didn't like so much about this movie. The first, I liked Lady Nikoku's character, but she felt like she was there just for kind of like some slapstick comedy, which I didn't really love. I mean, they made her kind of overly simple. They made her like overly confused, overly self-deprecating, which I think is partly her character. But it just felt like she was there for just kind of like simple laughs, nothing too complex. It seemed like, she would be confused, she would say something silly, she would get super excited about something. It didn't really, I don't know, it felt like she is the star of this movie, but it didn't feel like they were kind of like raising her up in her role as the star. She felt a lot of times like she was there just for simple laughs and just for kind of like simple aspects. Her character gets a little bit more complicated as the film goes on, but just it just rubbed me the wrong way, the way that she was kind of represented in this film. The second thing I didn't love as much is, I guess, some of the conflicts. Like there were some, I don't know, quote unquote big conflicts that happened in this film, some big revelations that happened that didn't really have much magnitude. I mean, you would have this big conflict, this like big fissure between people, and then it would just kind of like go away eventually. You had some big revelations about some characters and whatnot that, and after it happened, it didn't seem to be referenced much again. So it felt like this film had some extra drama thrown in that just didn't have any staying power. It was there and then it was gone, and the slice of life continued. And kind of on a related note to that, the third thing I didn't love is this film had a pretty slow pace. I know a slice of life film tends to not have a lot going on, but this film specifically just didn't really progress much. A lot of it was you just kind of like learning about Nikuko and Kikuko and their relationship, and seeing some scenes where like Nikuko will mess up and like Kikuko has to come in and clean up, or Nikuko will like was supposed to make dinner and she's now asleep and Kikuko will go in and like make the dinner for them. There's just not a ton that happens through most of the film, and that even kind of goes towards the ending. The ending has some big revelations that again don't really feel like they have the gravity that you would expect. So that kind of leads me directly into the fourth thing I didn't love, which was the ending. And again, ending, you will have spoilers here. There will be spoilers. If you don't want to know what happens in the film, turn this off now. But the ending is also something I didn't love, partly because it had these big emotional revelations that didn't really feel like had any gravity to them. And then also the ending itself was a little bit strange. So what we find out in the end is that, and it's kind of implied throughout because Nikuko and Kikuko don't look at all alike. Nikuko is not actually Kikuko's mother. Kikuko's mother was someone that was working at like a hostess bar with Nikuko. Back in the days, they became pretty good friends and they started living together and they became pretty close. And then Kikuko's mother, I believe her name is Mew, she became pregnant, and eventually, I guess she just abandoned Kikuko one day. Like she left a note with like some money saying please take care of her, and she just like left, which it seems pretty harsh, like very harsh. And Nikuko then like took, to her credit, she took care of Kikuko, raised her like her own, never really even mentioned her mom. But Kikuko found out at a young age, and so the one revelation we find out is that Kikuko is known for a long time, since she was 4, that Nikuko is not her mom. And so that was supposed to be a big revelation, but she's like, that's fine. I've known for a long time. And then we also find out that Nikuko and Kikuko's mom Mew have been talking, and I think it's kind of implied that it's recent because Kikuko mentions it as a new thing. She thinks that Nikuko has like a new boyfriend. That Nikuko and Mew are talking on the phone like on Tuesday nights very quietly, I guess getting updates. I guess Mew is wondering about Kikuko. I think the implication is that Mew now wants to be part of her life, but I don't know. It seems very odd that she has these like secret conversations and whatnot, and then just kind of like go out there and try to make a more formal introduction. And then we find out that she did kind of do that. There was a sports day event where You know, the entire middle school were competing in sports, and Mew was there to watch Kikuko. And there was this kind of like plot point there where there was like this photographer constantly taking pictures, and Kikuko could never figure out like who that was. Apparently that was Mew, like taking pictures of her daughter, trying to like get some memories of her daughter, but she never went and said hi or went and did anything. I think the film is trying to imply that Mew doesn't want to like disrupt this family. Like she doesn't want to like come in and try to take over. And so she's kind of like leaving that to Kikuko. But again, it just felt weird that she would have like gone to this event and not, you know, said hi to her daughter, not introduced, not like had any moment. It's just like she was this character off on the side. And then Nikuko gives the revelation of like, you know, Mew has turned around her life. She's now married to this rich person. She has a new baby of her own, and that's kind of what brought back this motherly instinct. But again, like that doesn't make up for being gone for however long it was, 12, 14 years. Like that doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't justify it to me. Maybe it would justify it to someone else, but to me it feels like a very hollow explanation for why she's now like, coming back into the life. But we do find out that also that Mew has like offered to let Kikuko like come live with her if she wants to, because now she has the means, I guess, to take care of Kikuko, which again feels pretty hollow because like Nikuko has been taking care of Kikuko for a long time, just kind of getting by. Like they're not living like an extravagant life. Like Nikuko is just kind of making do and like working whatever job she can to try to like keep them in line. So it just feels very weird that now like, oh, your mother is here, and you know your mother is now wanting to get back into your life because now she is rich and has her own child, and now she wants you back in life again. It felt very disingenuous to me. I didn't love like this whole explanation, and I think that Mew and Nikuko had been in contact, so it seems like her mother could have come in at any point, and now at this point she's like, okay, now I'm ready to take over again. I didn't love that. It felt very hollow to me. And then the actual full ending happens, and it again it's a little bit weird, it's a little bit off. um so Kikuko says essentially like, I want to stay with you, Nikuko, like you're my mother, you know, I'm gonna stay with you, which is sweet. It's very sweet. But Kikuko has also been having like stomach pains for some reason. They think that maybe it was something that she ate, but you know, no one else is feeling sick, so she doesn't think it was something that she ate, and she's not doesn't have like intestinal issues. And so you're wondering like what's going on, like what's happening, why is her stomach hurt? And it's just one of those things where like her stomach hurts, and then eventually she goes to the bathroom because her stomach hurts. And earlier Nikuko had picked up these like treats, these, I think they were like, I don't know, maybe like a mochi type of treat. And they are supposed to be like red and white treats. And Nikuko opens the treat, and there's two pink red looking treats. And so I guess that was a big surprise. And then you like see the door open to the bathroom, and you can see Kikuko's, from the waist up, you can see Kikuko's face. And I guess the implication is she's having her period, so she's like becoming an adolescent. And when this happens, you see Lady Nikuko's face kind of look up, and for the first time they draw her face like more realistic. Like her face changes into like a more kind of realistic looking. Her eyes become more rounded and have more definition. Her face has more definition. And she like looks up with like teary-eyed and happy, and she says like omedeto, which is congratulations. And that's the movie. That's the end. I don't know, I guess it's a happy ending. I guess we're supposed to take that like Kikuko is going to stay with Nikuko, and Kikuko is also kind of becoming an adolescent, becoming an adult, and so that shows that Nikuko could do it. She raised her from a very young child all the way up to adulthood. So you know, I guess it shows that Nikuko is a good mother and that this family, you know, has survived. But it just felt very weird. It felt very off. I didn't feel like the ending I was expecting, and the whole kind of drama with her mom being there just felt flat to me. Like either, you know, do it or don't. Either come into her life or don't. Come in earlier. Should have come in earlier. But if she's gonna kind of like now make that transition, she should have done something more, made a bigger effort to get into her life, not just kind of like stayed in the shadows. But again, I think that was part of the story, is like her mother doesn't want to, you know, impose on the family. But it just felt like a very strange thread to throw right at the end. And then the ending itself felt very strange as well. So that is Fortune Favors Lady Nikoku. It's an interesting film. It has some beautiful animation, but the story didn't have enough like gravity or interesting aspects for me. It still is a beautiful film, and it's definitely something that could be interesting, but I definitely think it's a rental. So that's Fortune Favors Lady Nikoku. It's coming to theaters in America on June 2nd and June 3rd, 2022. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.